So the first quarter of 2026 doesn't look good. You got geopolitical tensions. They've got the indices down as much as 8% this quarter. And Mag 7 stocks, wow, don't even get me started. They're down as much as 20%. But with all the frustrations from the other side of the world to the local gas pump, I see bullishness right around the corner. I'm going to show you where to find it. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey everybody, it's me, Tom Gentile, America's favorite pattern trader, back with another video showing you patterns that you will not find anywhere else. So be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get all of these videos before anyone else. All right, so let's get right into it. So April showers bring us bulls. All right, what the heck does that mean? You know, we've gone through a March that is very mimicking of last year. And if that's the case, if you take a look at April, the first week of April, we actually ended up bottoming. All right, we ended up bottoming during that time frame in April, and then we ran from there straight up, and then that ran into May, June, July, and you can see the chart of what ended up happening. But it all started in April. So when I look at April, and this chart of April, if I blow it up here for you, this is the month of the entire April money calendar. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at ETFs. So I'm looking at the top ETFs that are traded, and I have them displayed on the month. You see all that green on the screen? That is showing me the trades that have, you know, anywhere from, I'm looking on this calendar here, and I see 92% on the bottom side, 91%, and 100% on the upside. So we're seeing, this isn't every ETF, folks, all right? This is only those ETFs that have either a 90 to 100% bullish or 90 to 100% bearish pattern over the last decade. As you can see by the green on the screen, the majority of what we're seeing here is showing up bullish. The vast majority is showing up bullish. So if we were to go in and look at just this week only, all right, so this week only, first of all, we have a 4-day week this week. We're going to be taking a market holiday on Good Friday. So let's focus on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And as you can see here, 83, 89, 92, and 90. As we get into April, we start to swing even more toward the side of the bulls when we're looking at ETFs. All right. So I talked a little bit about ETFs last week, and let me rewind on that, because a lot of what we're seeing last week is the same thing coming into this week. So what we're seeing is this: the ETFs that are at the top of the list, the Qs are still up at the top. So is SPY. Then I see UPRO, TQQQ, and SSO. Guess what? Those are all indice related ETFs. So when I see those, it just tells me that the markets last week, we only had 2 of these showing up on the list. Well, we had XLK too, but this week we're seeing more and more ETFs moving over and becoming bullish as we end March and as we go into April. So if I were to just take a look at the top 2, which is what we did last week, we saw QQQ last week. We saw the going back to late last year, the lows in the Qs at 580 on the screen. We saw the highs of the Qs, which were, there was a double top. There was one at the end of October, and then it happened again near the end of January. We double topped up here around 640, and then we bottomed last week at around 580. And since then, we've wiggled a little bit sideways, but we still got a lot of this particular 50, 55-day pattern happening with QQQ, right? Bullish seasonality. So again, as we go into April and May, that is the big months for the NASDAQ 100, or in this case, the Invesco QQQ Trust. Same goes for SPY, although SPY isn't as strong. We've seen lows down here around, we saw a double bottom at 650 that got taken out last week. All right. We see tops that happen. We were forming that higher highs. And then we topped out at all-time highs back at the end of January. And that was just shy of 700 on SPY before the big downslot that took us from close to 700 all the way down into the low sixes. That was very close. I want to say probably about an 8-9% drawdown before we saw a little bit of a rebound here into last week. Where do we go from here? Again, we got the entire month of April and the entire month of May heading into June, where we see the bulk of this spring seasonality happening for SPY. All right. So, I discussed this when we looked at SPY and we looked at QQQ. There's a couple of ways that we could look at this, but these are indices. All right. And these indices are such that when you take a look at SPY, and QQQ, first of all, I'm a fan favorite of the Qs. I think it has a stronger seasonality pattern. I know it has a stronger looking technical pattern on the chart. And it's just a matter of, again, I've spotted the opportunity. What do? I want to create that alternative risk trade. So I'm going to look at calls on the Qs. I'm going to look at call spreads on the Qs, and I'm going to compare the two. Am I going to be looking at options that expire next week? No. Am I going to be looking at options that expire in April or May? No. I'm going to be looking for options that expire sometime after June the 9th, which is the end of the pattern that I'm looking at. Well, the Q numbers for 2026 are in. Dow's down 6%, S&P down 7%, NASDAQ down 8%, stocks like Google and Amazon down 12%, Tesla down 20%, and Microsoft down 24%, all for Q1. Q1's been a bloodbath for day traders, meme traders, and those who thought their favorite stock was going to go up. Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way, folks. So join me on Tuesday, April 7th at 4 p.m., just after the market closes, as I go through my spring cleaning workshop with seasonality. In just 1 hour, you're going to learn how to remove those dead weight trades that are keeping you down, how to clean up your watch list and sweep away the old stuff for some new things and identify unengaged capital. That means we're going to relocate our buying power with new opportunities in Q2 and much, much more. Just click the link on the QR code there on the screen, or you can check the links below for more information. I'll see you there.